very good evening to you. Thank you for staying with TV3. This is News at 10. It is live from our studio here at Adisawe in Accra. I am Martin Esiedu Dati. Coming up tonight, we'll take you straight to the House of Parliament, where there was quite some drama, and 137 NPP members of Parliament approved the 2022 budget in the absence of the minority, who rejected the same budget last Friday with a similar number of 137 MPs. That's on the NDC side. We'll take you to Parliament to give you the twists and turns of proceedings in what some have described as a green track and a blue track of Ghana's Parliament. Later in the bulletin, we'll bring you the story of some aggrieved toll booth operators who are calling for a reversal of the Roads and Highways Minister's directive to scrap the collection of tolls. Before we get into those details, here are highlights of today's big stories.
News at 10 Headlines is brought to you by Deluxe Superfix Tile Cement.
Parliament approves budgets in the absence of a minority as government makes no concessions. Despite a rejection by the House on Friday by the minority, the majority caucus overturned the decision today.
137 of you, plus me, MP for the 138. All in favor of the motion, say aye. The ayes have it, the motion is carried.
Government should have consulted widely before deciding on introduction of a levy on electronic transactions in the 2022 budget. Former Finance Minister and Central Bank Governor tells Roland Walker the lack of adequate engagement of important stakeholders has greatly affected rollout of well-intended policies of the Akufo-Addo government.
Management is a consultation. You consult, you discuss. When you agree, you go on. Okay. At times, they like a sacrifice. Okay? But with that consultation, you get into some challenges. It must be consulted.
Aggrieved toll booth operators are calling for a reversal of a Roads and Highways Minister's directive to scrap the collection of tolls. Scores of members of the Ghana Toll Booth Workers Union massed up in front of Parliament to protest and petition government to give them back their sole means of livelihood.
Oh, when he said that we'll be giving alternative livelihoods, makes me think that that means for good, he wants to tell me that the toll have been scrapped for good. You know, which should not be the case. I mean, you have to consider the recommendation that we made before you can tell me that.
Workers operating on digital platform businesses in Ghana face low pay and dangerous working conditions, according to a research by the University of Oxford and the University of Ghana Business School.
We are willing to work with the regulators to be able to revise Ghana's laws, because our current labor law does not look at the gig economy and the fourth industrial revolution and the kinds of jobs that is producing.
I am particularly worried about the hospitality industry and the kind of conditions. In fact, I'm actually worried about the media and the kind of conditions and that a lot of you work under. I am particularly worried about private school and private school workers. These are areas where it looks to me that our Ministry of Labour and Employment Relations hasn't paid critical attention to.
So those are highlights of today's big stories. Let's go straight to Parliament now. We're talking about what many of you have already been talking about on social and conventional media. Parliament has approved the budget in the absence of the minority as government makes no concessions. At least the finance minister said those concessions will be discussed at committee level. Despite a rejection by the House on Friday by the minority, the majority caucus overturned that decision today.
I come under Order 51 to move that you, the Honourable Speaker, properly propose for determination the question on the motion moved by the Minister of Finance on behalf of His Excellency the President on Wednesday, November 17, 2021, in respect of the budget statement and economic policy of government for the year ending 31st December 2022. As I've argued, what happens that day is a nullity because it does not meet the test established under Article 104.
The number presented to me by the clerk's at table is 137 of you plus me, MP for Bekwai, 138. The vote of the majority of members present and voting, with at least half of all the members of Parliament present. What it means is that before you take a decision, there must be at least a majority of all members present. With me, we have 138 members. That's the majority. It doesn't mean that all the 138 must vote yes or no. A majority of this 138, their decision will carry the day. Honourable members, the motion that was moved by the Honourable Minister and have been debated is now ready for decision to be taken. We have already determined that the appropriate numbers are in the chamber, and therefore the House stands ready to take a decision. Now I'll put the question. All in favor of the House adopting the resolution moved by the Honourable Minister for Finance, say aye. All against say no. The ayes have it. The motion moves. The House has adopted the financial.
And so, just for clarity, it is 137 MPs who voted, although the presiding speaker is an MP. Because he was a speaker, he didn't vote. So 137 MPs voted. Same number voted on the NDC side. And talking about the NDC, they held a press conference moments after the approval of the 2022 budget, where the minority leader Haruna Iddrisu hit hard at the NPP government and the MPs in Parliament, saying that their vote and their approval is also a nullity.
We referred to them that the brilliant economist at ISA has suggested that review it downwards. Therefore, we said if you could go to 0.5 to 1%, we could accommodate you for the good of the Ghanaian people. They said it was their budget and they were not prepared to review the e-levy. So the Ghanaian people, we then decided that they must stand alone in it, because we believe sincerely that it's punitive, as Professor Kote said, and it does not serve as a good tax instrument because it's regressive. We also asked them to adjust even the threshold of this 100 Ghana, maybe upward. They also said they were not ready to do that. So if you didn't see the minority cooperating, these were the very reasons we are unable to support them. So we're determined to support them to redeem the economy. Now let me come to the business of Parliament. When you lay a budget statement minus concessions and you approve it without knowing the concessions, what have you approved? What have you approved? So let's get serious. Those of you who are familiar with the work of Parliament, we have seen motions amended on the floor of Parliament. It was just for the Minister for Finance to amend those aspects of the budget statement, or for better choice of a word, revise it. For instance, on Acre Energy, we clearly drew the attention that your rendition does not reflect the resolution which were passed by Parliament. An unpleasant truth which he must accept today and accept tomorrow. He can't alter that. So if you don't change it in the budget statement, where else are you going to change it? Which committee are you going to change it? We said EJAPA. We will not support EJAPA today. We will not support it tomorrow, because this Minister of Finance have collateralized every opportunity and revenue in order that he can endanger the future for an incoming political administration led by John Dramani Mahama and the NDC. So concessions, I want anybody to show to me where they have approved a budget subject to unknown concessions. The concessions are known only to the Minister of Finance and to the Honorable Osechi Mensah Bonsu. Is that how the Parliament of Ghana should work? Let me warn that from tomorrow, every other decision of Parliament will be by voting.
And that's the minority side moment after the approval of the budget. So you heard Haruna Idrisu, leading the minority side, saying they will not approve or accept the Ijapa deal in whichever form it comes to the House. Meanwhile, a former Attorney General and former High Commissioner to Canada, Ne Aikwe Otu, has given his backing to the deal, justifying the need for Ghana to benefit from its mineral resources.
It is an international commercial agreement, which means that it will need parliamentary approval. So the thing is that the thing should go to Parliament, and everybody should be given the opportunity to have a look at it. Let them bring in their input. There must be consultations. Look, I don't think that generally people are against it, because we are all agreed that it does not appear that we are getting value, from all these mining companies that we find here. So why don't we find a way of leveraging on it to get something for ourselves? Now, if the minority thinks that by forming a company and putting certain names there, it's like you trying to, do friends and family business.
I'm not sure it's just about putting certain names there. I think the question is, was this put out competitively for everyone who may have expertise in that area?
It started by attacking certain personalities whose names appeared. That once we see these names, it's family and friends.
Maybe if it had been transparent, and eventually everyone accepts that these people are the best qualified, I'm not sure if that would have been an issue.
It went to Parliament.
Later.
Yes, it did. By looking at it, some of these concerns were raised, which are legitimate. Why? But the important thing to me is bipartisanship. I do not believe that people in the minority side think that we are getting what we ought to get. And if this is the best way to go about it, let it go back as they are proposed, and let them look at it the best way that we can get value for our,
mineral resources.
For our mineral. Let's go back and do the evaluation.
The directors that would form this company, there was an indication that their tenure almost seemed for life. That was also a criticism.
That is why the minority should be given the opportunity to have their say about it. But to say that we should not bring it anymore, I don't think is the best way to go, because we are not benefiting. I strongly support it, and I think that that's...
All right, so you'd want to stay with us, because certainly in subsequent bulletins and in almost all our major current affairs programs, we'll be dissecting the budget and the arms and legs that have generated from it and the approval thereof from Parliament. Let's shift our attention to other news tonight. Aggrieved toll booth operators are calling for a reversal of the Roads and Highways Minister's directive to scrap the collection of tolls. Scores of members of Ghana Toll Booth Workers Union massed up in front of Parliament to protest and petition government to give them back their sole means of livelihood. Lord Edwasari reports.
Among other things, the finance minister did say that toll booth workers will be reassigned. Today, many of them are gathered here in front of Parliament House to register their displeasure, because that hasn't happened yet.
Abribian who did free by Yanka cry bedino, a yamaseno, and I see a pescas yes a mine, and to work with toe, and then Mali qualify Burkina, Mukasmpo and a say a coin, or more omination free.
What have we done to you to enjoy free amenities but have deprived us of our livelihoods? you want us to go beg for arms?
Yanko Viana, Yanko Serana, Yatekwan Musi, say Ghana, Ghana, Yabon, Ghana, Yatan. What about
the application for baby?
I once sent an application but was rejected because the employer said Akufo-Addo had already given us someone.
But and I'm saying when I didn't know. Okay, I'm saying na do amanya adwumenti no. Oho no so mo di mo obi foforo. Nti na me qualify but o man fa adwuma na amane.
Togut work have been dismissed. I don't really know the reason why they are doing that, and what their reason is that most of them are the topics that always are this traffic issue and then riot and all sort of things. But I don't really get it because what the parliamentarians or whatever the people are saying, I think they're supposed to go down and then verify everything themselves. They can't just sit at their offices and then declare everything as if they are on the ground experiencing what we are going through.
After hours of protesting, representatives of the Tollbooth Workers Union submitted a petition to the leadership of the House. The Agri-Tollbooth Workers noted that with the current challenges of unemployment in the country, there's no way government's promise of reassigning them will become a reality.
Oh, when he said that we'll be giving alternative livelihoods, makes me think that that means for good. He wants to tell me that the toll has been scrapped for good, you know, which should not be the case. I mean, you have to consider the recommendation that we made before you can tell me that.
The General Secretary said he hoped their concerns would be addressed when a revised budget is presented to Parliament. News, Accra.
And still on that subject matter, pressure is mounting on Parliament to crack the whip on Roads Minister Kwesi Amoako over his directive to suspend road tolls. It follows the rejection of the 2022 budget, and well, now it has been approved by the majority side. And that said that particular issue that was raised by the Roads Minister should be reconsidered.
The Roads Minister, on the night after the budget statement, directed the suspension of road toll collection. That decision was challenged, however, with the Speaker ordering a withdrawal of the directive. A week on, and with the budget rejected, the NDC wants Alban Bagbin to crack the whip. Abraham Amaliba is Director of Legal Affairs of the party.
This is the time for the Speaker to crack the whip. You have no idea as to how much we are losing as a nation because of the toll booths not being manned. All those monies could have gone into the national kitty. What are we doing? Is the minister going to pay the country back, refund all those monies? And I think that this is where it's about time for the Speaker to walk the talk and haul the Minister for Transport, Roads and Highways for contempt of Parliament.
But former Deputy Attorney General Joseph Mka disagrees.
What happened yesterday is a temporary jolt, and so moving forward, I believe that subsequently the budget will be passed to give effect to whatever he has said. But for now, we have to accept the situation as it were. But remember that the decision he took was meant for the general good of Ghanaians, and so implementing it was going to ensure that there was free flow of traffic. Imagine the number of hours that we spent queuing to pay road tolls. So that decision he took was a calculated one, meant at ensuring that there's free flow of traffic and ensuring economic boom.
For lawyer Justice Abdullahi, Kwesi Amoako must be picked up for causing financial loss to the state.
I don't think this is just a matter of Speaker's contempt. I also think that it borders on criminality, and that minister would have to be dealt with in accordance with law, because this is a pure case of financial loss to the state, and the minister would have to account for it. And I do not think you need the Speaker to activate this part of the law. The Speaker can go ahead with his contempt and do whatever he believes is right within the law against the minister, but there's a criminality involved, and that part has to be dealt with by the executive.
It remains to be seen if the said directive will ever be reversed, even as government works to have the budget approved.
This is still News at 10 on TV3. Stay with us. We'll be back with more after this break.
Zuzum right here in my house. Hey!
Look up there. Why are you using inferior pen?
It was a mistake. I no check.
Akrobetu, I'm going to knock you out.
I know, sir.
You deserve quality.
Don't make mistake. Stop.
You did the right thing.
When you are going to buy a paint, don't look left, don't look right. Go straight and grab the luxury paint. No be any paint, be paint.
The Lozi acrylic paint.
Paint me champion.
Thinking about constructing offices, a house, shop, or multi-purpose building, build faster and cheaper with prefabricated building from Y&W Industry Limited. Take a look at these samples. 2-bedroom apartment with living area, shared toilets, bath and kitchen. Office space has working room, meeting area and washroom. Our prefab buildings can also be used for schools, factories, high-rise buildings or any purpose desired. The structure is made of hot-dip galvanized pipes with cement fiberboard walls, heat and sound insulated resin roofing sheets, special security doors, UPVC window, all from Y&W Industry. Major components are produced in the factory and assembled on site. Lifespan is 50 years, and so say bye to chasing masons and carpenters. Locate us on Accra Kaswa Highway opposite ECG Transformer before the toll booth and in Marble House Yard, South Industrial Area, adjacent Zenith Bank, or call 054-698-3633 or visit us at www.ywindustry.com. Follow us on Facebook, Instagram and Twitter at YWIndustryGH.
Connect FM Bronya, just I guess from a second deep. 1 week. In the years, was a display was for one and some, but no sabra of your woman sons are tossing. I'm filming with an a exhibition. Vital unit for business growth. You would hear this was in the party there today. Oh, yes, you center. Kundum Square and now Confession Quadwa. Osha Sunday, 19 December. Zekes Sunday, 22 December. Yes, I'm going to Bronya. Repression at the Dofuna for Funinara. Mayanya sentence Kakra. If Pedemo Brew with the Ruasa, Franya 0244 244 027 0545 572 856. Connect FM 7 Bronya. General so. Now fear. Oh no, yes, Samara Mamma Porta so. Oh yes, Samara Papa to total to what I am. Connect FM.
All white party on the way this Christmas. Experience the 3FM all white party on the lake. Yes, this time it's the float edition with great experience while cruise on the Dottie Princess and party hard happening on Boxing Day, 26th December, amidst super exciting activities such as beach soccer, live band, pool party, swimming, jet ski, bonfire, and drink ups. It's an all-night fun party from 8 p.m. to 6 a.m. Rate a cool 350 Ghana cedis for singles and 600 Ghana cedis for double. Man, that's so cool for so much fun. A little party never killed anyone. Join us in your all-white attire. Life is a party, dress like it. The all-white party is brought to you by 3FM Volta Hotel and Dottie World.
For reservation, please call 0546 063 747 or 0558 167 221. Sponsored by Johanny Auto Cooling Center.
All-white party on the way.
Welcome back to News at 10 on TV3. 14 vehicles have been captured in various road traffic offences by the police CCTV camera surveillance. The vehicles were captured in offences including dangerous driving and unlawful U-turn.
The offences were committed around Kobina Station, Fadama Night Market, Laboni Junction, Madina, Soltom VRA Junction, St. Theresa Clinic Junction, 31st December Junction, Excel Community, Bawi Clinic Junction, Israel, Old Opadan, Kaneshi 1 and 2 JHS, and Kodia Junction. 13 of the offending vehicles were captured in unauthorized parking with arrest in dangerous driving, unlawful U-turn, and unauthorized stopping. The offending vehicles have up to 1 week from the day of publication to report to the Accra Central MTTD at Tudu to assess and police investigations. Superintendent Alexander Kwesi speaks for the Ghana Police Service.
Let me take this opportunity to inform all motorists of the country that know that you have a responsibility to drive safely on a road. If you refrain from this and take the law into your own hands and infract on the Road Traffic Act 63, you have the orders at the court.
Bench warrants would be issued against those who fail to report to the police.
Big Brother Police is watching, so you want to be careful on the roads. In other news tonight, President of the African Investment Group, Dr. Samuel Ankra, says the country needs a comprehensive tax policy and a modernized tax administration in order to rake in needed domestic revenue for development. Speaking at the 2021 Annual Economists Conference in Accra, he noted that the e-levy has a short-term benefit but dire consequences in the long run.
Ghana's tax system raises less than 50% of the total revenue due, thereby making it difficult to enact basic public administration and budget fiscal management. A significant number of informal sector workers in Ghana are trapped in poverty as they do not earn enough to live themselves and find their families out of poverty. And it never has been a good policy anywhere in the world for policymakers to enact laws to tax poor people unfairly. The new e-tax has short-term benefits. However, the medium to long term will have a dire consequence on the economy. Apart from erasing all the efforts and hard work to cultivate a financial inclusive economic ecosystem and help in reducing the informal sector, it would also destroy most economic gains. The key area to be affected is the foreign remittance from Ghanaians resident abroad, as is the third highest foreign exchange earner after cocoa and gold. Taxing inward remittance flows is a bad idea. A tax on remittance would drive these flows to unregulated informal channels, and we've been there before. This is likely to reduce the tax revenue, increase the cost of tax administration, and encourage informal channels of money inflows.
Now, Traders Advocacy Group Ghana has asked its members not to embark on any strike as a response to tax increases. The group noted that the best alternative is to pass on the increased cost of doing business to consumers.
We wish to remind government that traders will always be traders and are ever ready to pass on any additional cost or charge to the final consumer, 100%. The action by government warranting the removal of the benchmark values and adding on cost of doing business at Ghana ports will not be a problem that should warrant a strike action or a demonstration to interrupt our business activities. Have you ever seen or heard any strike or demonstration from the big players? No. You know why? They will always pass on the excess cost to the final consumer. We entreat our traders not to entertain any activity that will affect free flow of their business operations, especially towards the festive season. All traders are advised to add on in order to stay in business.
Let's find out what's happening elsewhere around the world on the international front, starting from Barbados, because that country, that's Barbados, stopped pledging allegiance to Queen Elizabeth on Tuesday as she shed another vestige of its colonial past and became a republic for the first time in history and didn't need permission from the UK. Several leaders, dignitaries and artists, including Prince Charles and Rihanna, attended the ceremony that began late Monday in a popular square where the statue of well-known British lord was removed last year amid a worldwide push to erase symbols of oppression. Barbados became independent from the United Kingdom in November 1966, more than 3 centuries after English settlers arrived and turned the island into a wealthy sugar colony based on the work of hundreds of thousands of African slaves. Congratulations to the Barbados for becoming the freshest country in terms of being a republic. That's it for the bulletin. I am Martin Esiedidati. Go to 3news.com. You get an update of all the stories we brought to you this evening. Have a good evening, and as always, stay positive. Bye for now.